Hey everyone. The Alliance for Science is really glad to be here with you today. The Discover CS Squad, and CS stands for Computer Science, has put together a series of sessions so you can learn how to put secrets in code. My name is Karen, and in today's session, I'm going to give you an overview of cryptography. Now, we've seen this before in history. The telegraph was a device that could send information over wires across great distances. The telegraph sent pulses of electrical current through the wires. Now, the telegraph operator tapped a bar called the telegraph key, and that controlled the length of the pulse. The pulses represented letters. At the other end of the wire, these pulses changed into clicking sounds. So here's how it worked.
Morse code was a method of transmitting textual information as a series of on-off tones that could be directly understood by a skilled listener. Example.
During World War II, the US had a need for an unbreakable code that would help them communicate their secret plans. The Marines knew exactly where to find one, the Navajo Nation. The Marines selected 29 Navajo men, and they were called the Navajo Code Talkers. These men created a code based on the unwritten Navajo language, and it associated a Navajo word with key phrases and military tactics. The Code Talkers participated in every major Marine operation in the Pacific theater, thus giving the Marines a critical advantage throughout the war. The Navajo Code Talkers were considered critical to the victory at Iwo Jima. And at the end of the war, the Navajo code remained unbroken. Now, meanwhile, in Europe, the Germans developed an encryption device called ENIGMA. And it looked like a typewriter, but it was really a very sophisticated encryption machine. The British set up a special operations to break the Enigma code, and it was led by computer scientist Alan Turing and a team of code breakers at a place called Bletchley Park. Here's an interesting fact: 75% of the code breakers were women. Now let's look at how we can use cryptography ourselves. Dr. Ed is in Santa Fe, but let's say I'm in Phoenix. Dr. Ed wants to send me a secret message, but because I'm in Phoenix, he just can't hand me the envelope. Now, when he sends the envelope, he knows it can get handled by a lot of different people. Now, Ken knows that Dr. Ed is sending this message to me, and he really wants to know what it says. Now, Ken could make a plan to intercept the message before it gets to me. Now, when the cyber criminals do this, they sometimes just keep the envelope and never pass it on. Sometimes they read it first, and then they send it to the person, and then sometimes they even change the message before it gets to the person who it was intended for. So how can Dr. Ed make sure Ken can't see the secret message? Well, Dr. Ed can use cryptography to encrypt the message. And that way, if Ken gets it, he won't know what the secret is. So Dr. Ed will start out by writing the secret in English. Now, of course, if Ken sees this, he can figure out what the secret is because Ken understands English. Now, this is called writing in plain text. Anyone who understands English can understand the plain text secret. Now, the secret could have been written in any common language, let's say in Spanish or in Chinese. If the person who intercepts the message understands that language, then they'll know what the secret is. So now Dr. Ed knows that he has to encrypt his secret message. Now let's say the secret word is cake. To encrypt the word, Dr. Ed decides to use an encryption method called a number cipher to change letters to numbers. And we're going to learn more about that in another session. He's going to use a key to tell him what number represents each letter. And the result is 4.2.14.7. And this is called ciphertext. So he puts this in the envelope and he sends it to me. Now, even if Ken catches the envelope, he can't read it because he doesn't have the key. And moreover, Ken can't change the message before it gets me because he doesn't have that key. And so the message just goes along to me. Now, Dr. Ed had already sent me the key separately from the message. So when I received the envelope, I use the key to decrypt the ciphertext, and I change it back into plain text. So now I know that the secret word is cake. Okay, so let's review how cryptography works. You start by writing your secret in plain text, and then you use an encryption method and a key, and then you convert the plain text to ciphertext. Now, you got to make sure that your recipient has the same key so they can use it to decrypt the ciphertext back to plain text. And now you understand what cryptography is. Now, in session 2, I'll be joined by Dr. Ed and Ken, and we're going to teach you some encryption methods so you can use it to create your own secret messages at home. So until next time, kids, be fierce and keep killing it. Discover CS Squad out.